This week on the Beyond Worlds podcast, I take a trip to London.
Yeah, me and Joe go watch some wrestling at Wembley and have a jolly old time. So come join us in another world.
All in. Woo! Welcome back to the Beyond Worlds podcast. I'm Joe.
And I'm Steven. And this week we're back in person again.
Yeah, together.
Yeah, friends in the same room. Instead of friends through a screen. It's much nicer.
Yeah.
Much nicer.
So we've come together for, there was a bit of an event in London, wasn't there?
Yeah, we were at Wembley yesterday to watch some wrestling. See AEW All In. Big yearly show. The wrestling company come here like once a year the last couple of years.
We went last year, didn't we?
Yeah, that was very good. There was a few more of us last year, but this year it was just me and Joe. And we got some slightly nicer seats, although slightly might be an understatement. They were much, much nicer seats.
Yeah, much, much nicer.
We had cushions.
Yeah, it made a massive difference to sitting there because you sat there for quite a while, aren't you?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's a long show.
I mean, quite honestly, we were probably the first 1,000 people into the stadium.
Oh, without a doubt.
Easily. Like, our queue was, I don't want to disclose, like...
don't give us the secrets.
Yeah, because the section that I picked just so happened to have, like, the single best queue I've ever been in to a live event. Like, I've been through some quick queues, but last year we were in it for, like... to get in there was pretty quick, but I would still say it took us maybe 20 minutes once the queue started moving.
Yeah, to move along.
But we were like 2 minutes. The queue opened and we were like, blah, 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 tickets done. No, 5 minutes total.
Super quick in.
To get in there. And like the whole section, like the whole circle part we were in was just like pretty, not empty, but there was just...
It was really accessible, wasn't it?
Yeah,
There was people there, but no one was ever in your way. You didn't have to wait for anything.
Yeah,
it was
very good,
especially for how popular it is. So the last year's was one of the most watched live events, was it not?
It
for
was
wrestling?
So the tickets distributed was the highest number of tickets distributed to a wrestling event ever at the time, and it was like 81,000 in attendance.
See, that's pretty special.
But from working in sort of sports, I know that is not numbers through the gate.
No, so that's the tickets sold.
Yeah,
right?
that's ticket. Yeah, not even tickets sold, tickets distributed.
Oh, okay.
So it counts free complimentary tickets given out to people,
Got
stuff like that. So I think the sales gate was something like 70 something, and then they give out.
But it's still a potential amount of people that could be there, right?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. Everyone could be there.
Yeah,
but no, it was it was huge at the time. I mean, big gamble to bet on Wembley. It's your first time in a country, you go to the biggest stadium.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I was going to say, where else would they go? But yeah, go big or go home.
Yeah. Because there are a couple of other stadiums. Because Tony Khan, the guy that runs it, his dad owns Fulham Football Club.
Oh, okay.
So they could have used their stadium if they wanted to be safe. But no, good.
Go hard.
And next year, now instead of All In again, which next year is going to be in Texas, so that'll be potentially even bigger because Texas is fucking do everything big. We're getting AEW and New Japan's Forbidden Door.
Yeah,
which would be awesome because that's for people that aren't particularly into wrestling. New Japan Pro Wrestling is the bigger of the wrestling promotions over there, and it does also have very good wrestling shows. So a bit more hard hitting over there. they like the strong style, it's called. You do just seem to get guys just standing in the middle of the ring, just smacking each other in the chest for like 5 minutes, which is fighting spirito.
Sounds pretty brutal, but enjoyable.
Oh yeah, sometimes.
So my main experience of sort of AEW and wrestling in this way was our first trip last year. So that's how I really got into it. And as you said, it was just the two of us this year. Much better seats, much better location. Generally, it was not poo-pooing the people who came with us last year, but it was a great event for just the two of us to go. You don't need the big group.
No, you don't need loads of people.
No.
100%. Well, I said it wasn't loads of us last time, but it is something you can just. It's definitely something you can just go to with a couple of us, and we will be going next year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anyone would join us, that'd be cool. That's it. It's not like we're against people coming along, right?
No, absolutely not. More the merrier. But, to be fair, I did put it to people, but I did say I was going to buy more expensive seats.
Yes, so I think the seats were about £50 more this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend it quite so openly for the poorer seats from last year. Although I thoroughly enjoyed it, comparatively, I would say absolutely just pay extra money.
Yeah,
because it's night and day different experience.
Yeah. I mean, 'cause even last year, I didn't pick I just picked 4 seats that were together. I didn't really look that much at the map. Like we last year we couldn't see the entrance ramp, so this year was nice being able to see that.
Yeah, so we had that as well.
Watching the actual entrances instead of watching the camera screen version of it. And last year as well, because we were like 3 rows from the back.
Yeah,
we were watching the screen, not the ring, sort of thing. And although I did say yesterday, I caught myself like going between the two. You could watch the ring, and it was small still, but not small enough that you couldn't make out what was going on. Everything was it looked like people, not like children.
I think it was close enough that you could. Yeah, it was well within what I would want to see something.
Yeah.
It wasn't too far, it wasn't too close. Because that's the thing, we were sort of noticing some of the tickets down there at the front, they're not worth the price you pay for what you're going to see and what you're going to hear, because it's all flat. People are standing up all the time, so as soon as that happens and the sort of bit of ruckus gets over, your vision is gone. And I don't think in some of those positions they don't even have a screen. So
the big bit, so the bit opposite the entrance ramp, there wasn't a screen that side, was there? Because I did see at one point people had turned their seat around and were watching the screen.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
The floor seats, if you're not like right close, I don't see the point in floor seats.
No, I don't get it.
Cool, fair. Maybe like if everybody that is on one of those, and their chairs were even like worse than the plastic seats, like the plastic unfoldable chairs, they're horrible to sit on. Unless everybody, that's where you go to get the chair, because I don't know if you've got to sit in somewhere super, super special to get a chair, or if. Well,
when we were leaving, there was a lot of people leaving on the tubes with chairs.
Yeah, there was.
So, and I'm not saying they're not expensive tickets, but someone's getting them and then still getting on a train. They're not getting their private car to pick them up. Yeah. Some people save up for this sort of thing, right?
Yeah,
it's their special event.
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, I would recommend spending the bit extra. Definitely worth it. And so although you're not going to go to All In next year, there is, as you mentioned, the Hidden Door, Forbidden Door. That's it. Again, showing my lack of wrestling knowledge. So going into this, there wasn't anyone specific. I was like, I'm really excited to see them. So last year, I think Samoa Joe and CM Punk were there, who were big wrestlers that I knew about. And this year, there wasn't that big name as such, but the sort of level that was on show was really, really cool.
Yeah.
So big names that I used to know from wrestling, obviously. There was a lot of big names. So for you to sort of take over a bit, maybe, again, this is your expertise. So I think I'll be silent for a lot of it, but I'll throw in my bits here and there. What were you most excited about before we went there?
The title match for sure, because it was World Championship versus career. Bryan Danielson, he's one of the most iconic modern wrestlers, sort of thing. He's a pioneer of wrestling. Like, there's so many people that because of him are wrestlers. Like, a lot of people credit him to being their inspiration to start.
Okay.
And there are a lot of the wrestlers that I enjoy as well. And to see what he's been through and gone through, and he's had a life-threatening injury.
Oh, wow.
Well, a career-threatening injury. He was retired. WWE retired him for a number of years because he had a neck injury and because of CTE. He had too many concussions.
Oh, crikey.
And then he came back, and then he came to AEW, and he'd challenged for the championship a bunch of times, and he's been said when he came, he's only doing this for a short number of years, because he wants to spend time with his children.
Yeah.
And he promised his children, once this is done, I will stop full-time wrestling. Which is, he was sneaky, because he worded the kids, you can be a part-time wrestler, you come back and do like 4 shows a year, and you get the big pop. But yeah, he said he stopped full-time for them. That's why his kids were there, because it was a big thing.
Got you.
That got tied into the storyline, and then he was like, you know what, fuck it, my career versus your title. And yeah, I mean, Swerve is a freaking phenomenal wrestler. Like, he was a great champion. But he is also, there's more feuds going on with him. There was that Hangman guy.
Yeah, the guy turned up.
Yeah, he hates him because, like, in the build to Swerve and Danielson, like, Swerve hinted at being an evil bastard, like, oh, your kid's gonna being a naughty, rude guy, and that is how Swerve and Hangman's rivalry started. Swerve broke into Hangman's house, went into the room where his child was sleeping. I don't know why Hangman and his wife left the child in the room on their own, with nobody, in the house, with no one on their own, with no one there. And was like over the crib of Hangman's child.
And so, just to be clear to maybe some people who are at home listening who don't know much about
wrestling is choreographed. It is all the work. But it's a soap opera, and you enjoy it for what it is.
But this is. So to just really jump into your story there for a second, because although all this is like a soap drama, and he didn't really break into his room, right? But stuff does happen that's real. So CM Punk last year did get in a fight with someone and did end up leaving.
Yeah. I mean, it's a
volatile workplace. Right?
Yeah, it's a faux combat sport. You know, you're still. Like, people still get hurt. People still get punched in the face.
So the injuries are real.
Yeah, absolutely.
These retirements are always going to be made up.
And I like, older guys will have seen injuries happen because of people trying dumb shit. But trying dumb shit is how you make a name for yourself now, because everything's been done. Like, everything, you've got to be super innovative. Like with Darby and Jack Perry, who was involved in the CM Punk altercation, like, everybody loved when he used the glass, like, which is the whole thing from that time, that caused the fight between Punk and Perry. And, oh god, it's just so much drama in wrestling. It's funny, but
that's like you always said, it's like an anime story, right? The plots that can go all over the place.
Yeah, 100%. I always think that there should be a proper, like, wrestling style manga and anime. It would be so well received because you can make it so wacky. And I know there's like Ultimate Muscle, which is sort of wrestling, but to a next level. I reckon you could just do a pure wrestling anime about a wrestling comic, and it would work.
Yeah,
because it just would. You could start it in high school, whatever. Who gives a fuck? It could be some kid that, like, idolizes a wrestler and, like, wants to be him and trains. I don't know.
But no, I like all that side, the anime side of it. That main match was super enjoyable. Sort of bring it back to it a bit with Strickland losing the championship. So that meant that. So who was the other? Yeah. So he now doesn't have to leave. He's sort of made his kids proud.
Yeah, they've seen him become a champ. Like his wife said in an interview beforehand. Sure, you said to them that you would stop. But would it not also be really cool for your kids to see you become a world champion again? Like, and actually be a world champion for wrestling. And, that's pretty cute as well. And, like, you can see, like, from our seats, you could see his kid in the front row from the little pink hat. Yeah, like, bouncing up and down. Like, that was the point where she was crying and
that bit got me.
Yeah, it did. And then it was like, no, Jude, look. She's smiling, bro.
Because it can be scary, right? They had the fake medics come on again in the last match. Which one? They knocked out a cameraman in one of the matches.
Ospreay and MJF.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, Ospreay.
He did his hidden blade into a cameraman. The cameraman was just out there on the floor with his pants like halfway down his ass. That was funny.
See, that I think was my favourite match, just because of how acrobatic and Will Ospreay is nuts.
Yeah, he's
a gymnast.
He's absolutely insane. He's ridiculous. He styles himself off. One of his inspirations is Assassin's Creed. That's why he had that Assassin's Creed intro.
Which is mad that he can get away with that. You'd have thought Ubisoft would come down with the banhammer.
He's had partnerships with them before. All of his outfits, like whenever his ring jackets, are all Assassin's Creed themed and inspired. Yeah. Like he'll have the logo on them, and it's free advertising.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, and I bet you because they use the next Assassin's Creed is in Japan, right?
Yeah.
I bet you there's going to be a Will Ospreay sort of esque skin or something. You'll be able to get a skin for your assassin that will be like one of Will Ospreay's ring cloaks or something like that. I guarantee it.
It was a very good match.
Yeah. And credit. I mean, not just Will Ospreay. MJF is undoubtedly one of he was the heel of the match. He was the champion going into it. They made a big thing of it being US versus UK.
Yeah, it was a big US versus UK.
But MJF is phenomenal as well, and his in-ring ability. They're very opposite, but the way they work together so well was they both brought the best out of each other.
Oh, absolutely.
And like their first match was 59 minutes and 58 seconds. Yeah. Ridiculous, right?
Yeah, how do they keep up? We were talking earlier today how exhausting it must be.
Yeah, cardio in wrestling is the biggest thing. Like that's one of the things they say about people that come back from injuries, or if you've just been away for a long time. It's not the ring rust of the moves and stuff. It's being able to do it for 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. Like, and when people are just like out of the ring, you have to do that. Both people need to like catch their breath a hot sec.
Yeah.
They're doing some gnarly stuff sometimes, and running the ropes is really tough as well, apparently.
Well, one of the other big surprising bits from the event was the casino.
Yeah, the casino gauntlet match.
Casino gauntlet. Because you didn't know who was coming out for that, right? So that was fun from an outside perspective, not having a clue who any of these people would be, but seeing you and the entire crowd there sort of go off.
Yeah.
I was judging, like, is this a big person? And then every now and again you'd have someone that no one would pop off for. Yeah, and it'd just be quiet. I'd be like, okay, they're not someone to watch.
And then when the countdown started, and you said 3, 2, and that's when you know, okay, you can ignore the ring.
Yeah, everyone in the ring just sort of stops for a second. There's the next person come in.
Yeah, that was cool. I didn't expect the winner of that match to be the winner of that match.
No,
that was a surprise. And there were supposed to be, I mentioned this, so there were supposed to be 21 people that could have potentially been in that match. So there could have been 21 people 20 people trying to pin one person. It would have been crazy, but we only got up to number 13.
Oh, was it only 13?
Yeah, it was either 12 or 13.
I felt like a lot of people in that ring at the one point.
Yeah. But that was a fun match. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was a good laugh. That was one of the more comedy sort of matches, I guess, to a degree, especially how they won.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't. Well, no, I wouldn't say it was a comedy finish because of the storyline around the people that won it.
Just from an outside perspective,
it fits what they would do. Like that dinosaur dude, Luchasaurus. His new name. Yeah, his new name in the faction he's in Kill Switch or something like that, which is one of Christian Cage's moves. And
I was half expecting him to come out looking like King from Tekken, like with a dinosaur mask on.
He does have, to a degree. He's got like a up to like here thing. And
really?
Under his beard bit's empty. It only covers up to like just the front. But he does have. And he does like a massive like reverse roundhouse kick as like a tailwind. But yeah, he's like under the influence of the guy that came out before him, and so he wouldn't. He listens to everything he said. He's sort of like manipulated, mind controlled.
Oh no!
Not like actually mind controlled, like woo 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 shit, but like he's manipulated into like doing whatever he says. So that was a good ending for that. But I thought Hangman would win that, man. Hangman's been an angry man for a while. He was the one that tried to invade the championship match.
There was another guy you popped off for, the one who just got signed.
Oh, Ricochet.
And you thought maybe that could be his moment as well.
Ricochet's crazy. He's very much like Will Ospreay. There's some old next time you're down, I'll show you a couple of matches. There's which is Will Ospreay versus Ricochet from like 2013 or 2015 or something and like the first 2 minutes of it is just them running between the ropes at each other, flipping over each other, doing it. It's not wrestling, but just the choreography of that sequence is just like, what the fuck? And this is like years ago when these guys were like arguably weren't or aren't in their prime, because now they are. Like you see the size difference of Will Ospreay then to now. It's like me to Dino sort of thing. Ospreay is probably one of my favorite wrestlers at the moment. He's going back and forth between things, but wrestling will tend to make me ramble. So.
No. This is what this is about. It's about a bit of a ramble. I just want to kind of ask you questions and get your view on it. It's nice to sort of catch up from an outside perspective, and maybe for those at home who don't know stuff or who do, could definitely learn from you. Or sort of some people might disagree with some of the stuff you're saying. I personally don't know. But I wanted to sort of pause a bit. So we've talked quite a bit about the actual event, but just for a second, because we kind of just fell straight into it. My history, as I sort of mentioned, is I don't really have a history with wrestling apart from WWE, like who's on TV, the Hardy Bros, or do you know what I mean? Whoever was on the toy boxes at the front of my shop, so the big names, Hulk Hogan, things like this. But you have a very different, like you know these storylines, you've followed these storylines.
Yeah.
It's can you remember your first memory of wrestling?
No.
So it's always been there.
I think my auntie's husband used to record pay-per-view because he used to get the pay-per-views to watch. He used to record them for me. I know he used to record them for me. And give me like VHSs to borrow, but I just remember like my dad flicking through and having like SmackDown on one day and being like, fuck's this?
So sort of like Sky TV introduced you to it. Because that was always big advertised, the wrestling matches.
So I never really watched a whole lot of it, but I'd always get the pay-per-views to watch like a few days afterwards on video. So I could always check them out. And then I sort of like followed it a bit, and then I dropped off for quite a while, and then I started like following little bits that were going on just like through YouTube and stuff. And then I started really getting back into it in like 2017, 18.
Okay, so quite recently getting
proper into it. Like I was like sort of kept up to date with like current rosters of WWE, but it all got so wacky with me not having no idea who people were that I was like, okay, we can drop off this for a bit.
It's almost like trying to get back into Pokemon if you'd dropped out for a few years.
Yeah,
it's just like, wait, who are all these people? Like, I don't know. And you every now and again you'll get, Charizard.
That is actually the perfect analogy.
See, my gamer brain has gone to it.
It'd be like me, it'd be exactly like me coming back to Pokemon now and trying to play Scarlet and be like, what the fuck? Okay, whatever. Pikachu. Yeah, just like, I know that one. Okay, let's go get that one.
And you sort of said Will Ospreay is your current, he's up there.
Yeah.
What, if I had to, sorry to put you on the spot a bit, all-time favourite wrestler, what was the first name that comes to mind?
I'd say probably the person that the wrestler that got me back into it, which would be Kenny Omega.
Okay. Did we watch him last year?
Yeah, he was in the match last year. I'm pretty sure.
I feel like the name.
He was against Will Ospreay last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that
quite possible. Oh no, maybe he was in he was in a multi-man match, I think. Yeah, because it was Ospreay Jericho.
Yeah.
Kenny's in a multi-man match. He's having some medical problems at the moment, so he's got diverticalis or something like that. So basically just always got vertigo. Something wrong with his gut.
And especially if you're doing all those flips and stuff.
But Kenny is like, so because I just like oddly watched stuff that was going on, I stumbled across Chris Jericho going to New Japan Pro Wrestling and invading a match and attacking this guy called Kenny Omega. And then there was this match that got built, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, and it was billed as the Alpha versus Omega. And I was like, the fuck's this Kenny Omega guy? What a name is that? And I started checking him out. I was like, damn, this guy's actually pretty sick. And then, I watched that match, and that was really enjoyable. And then I started learning a bit more about New Japan Pro Wrestling and like how factions and stuff work there. And I learned about Bullet Club. And then when I learned about them, I found a YouTube show called Being the Elite, which was like the video diaries of Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, all their like little clique of Bullet Club friends, like traveling between the States and Japan, like doing little comedy skits. And it was like keeping the kayfabe alive between the wrestling shows, sort of thing. But they break kayfabe because, it's all behind the scenes sort of thing. But yeah, so I learned like, because there was that extra little bit of content associated with it, it let me grow attached to the characters a bit more. You saw their like goofy sides and stuff. Okay. But Kenny is like an ultra nerd.
Yeah.
Like ultra nerd. I might have said before, his finishing move is called the One Wing Angel.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I do remember now. Yeah.
After we're done, I'll show you an entrance of his. Like a couple of entrances of his. They're all like game themed. He's come in as the Terminator before. He's come in as either Cloud or Sephiroth before. He does Hadoukens. He one of his like big moves is a massive like he'll run from rope to rope and like knee someone in the face basically. But he calls it a V trigger, and a V trigger is a move is a thing that you can do in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Every character has a V trigger move, but his is just that's what he calls it. And he actually also plays Street Fighter competitively.
Wow.
Yeah. He actually goes to competitive tournaments, plays Street Fighter.
I can see
plays fighting games. So this is, again, one of the reasons I really like him. Super duper nerd.
You've sort of mentioned factions a bit there, and we mentioned them a bit at the start, and I'm sure we'll get into them a bit in the future. And I just suddenly thought another gaming analogy here. How the factions work? Would it be a bit like Sony has, say, Crash Bandicoot as their mascot, and then they trade them off to Xbox for a bit, and they then will have that character and that faction, or do characters move across?
Because so much.
They seem to like. There's people in it. So this is AEW that we're sort of really getting into. But you mentioned Japan Pro Wrestling.
So that they're not factions; they're promotions.
That's it. Sorry, I misspoke. So promotions.
Between some of them, it happens more so now. It didn't used to. You wouldn't like his contracts.
Okay.
You'd be contracted to that company. So unless they had a special clause in your contract that said yes, you could go work at that other one, you wouldn't be able to. But so now the companies are having a bit more communication.
Okay, so they're getting on a bit better.
Yeah, and there's obviously benefits because you learn other styles. You get a bit more TV time, and like wrestling in front of a non-televised audience is very different to wrestling in front of a televised audience.
Yeah,
because you've got multiple audiences to cater to. So like you notice like when wrestlers, they'll be facing one way in the ring and then they'll turn to the other side to do their big pose or something because that is where the camera is pointing. That's where the camera is. So you don't want to do the other side because you got to entertain the people at home as well. So you learn those other ring skills, which help just make you overall better. And yeah, it's good because you learn like New Japan will send their wrestlers on excursion, as it were. So they've always had like maintained good relationships with like some of the smaller American and international companies because they'll send their younger wrestlers to like Ring of Honor or Revolution Pro Wrestling in the UK, and they'll do like 6 to 9, maybe 12 months somewhere else to get just a bit more actual continual experience than they would in a New Japan ring because New Japan's still got to push its own people, but they still got to train the new people to work, and it's a quite cool way to teach people. You can go to like 4 or 5 different promotions, learn from loads of different people, and you're learning from your peers, not from the people that you have to work with eventually. No,
it's such an interesting concept, wrestling. It's so much bigger than maybe you first think when you start to peel back that I don't know, the window on it almost. You start to
Yeah.
peek and you see, oh, well, there's old WWE. Okay, that's wrestling. Well, no, because like you said, AEW, and it's massive.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it. There is something. There's something that everyone will enjoy. If you take away the fact that you think it is just two people fake fighting each other, and actually look at it for the product and that it is, it's like going to see a play.
Yeah,
just with a bit more fighting.
But so, from your experience, where would you say is a good jumping in point? So, someone who doesn't know, like before we get back into what we saw last night, if you're new to this, someone out there has no idea what wrestling is, they want to dip their toe in, where would you say this is where you should start? Or is that a hard question?
It's kind of a hard question because it would be very subjective. I'd say watch a few big shows, or like I don't know. I mean, there are really good technical matches I could say to go and watch, but it's like things like the best rated matches might not necessarily be to your taste. You know, like you might enjoy something that's a bit more wacky. Like some of the best matches of all time are Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada. They've got a trilogy of matches which broke the rating scale of wrestling, which is just a load of nonsense. But to say there used to be a wrestling scale that would you'd rate a match up to 5 stars. Dave Meltzer's a wrestling reviewer sort of dude who's been doing this for like years and years and years, and he's very respected for what he does. And he rates lots of shows and matches that go on what used to be a 5-star scale. And then Kenny and Okada had match, and he was like, "Oh my god, my scale is not big enough." And it went to 6-star matches eventually, or like I think he went to like 5.5 stars. Like it was just so good.
It's pretty special.
But if I showed those matches to people, they'd be like, "Why is this so good?"
Because they don't have the context.
Yeah. You know. Really, I'd say probably like some sort of like flippy stuff would be interesting because people would probably enjoy the acrobatics of it. So I would say like Ricochet versus Ospreay would be a good one, but because it's not a well produced match in like the filming quality of it's like in a hall sort of thing.
Okay.
It's not in a big arena like nice cameras sort of thing. It's all right. It's good it's great to watch, but it's from a number of years ago in a small venue, and yeah, so the like production quality isn't going to be there. But the match for what it is might interest people because they're just such phenomenal athletes.
So I guess it's kind of because it's hard. It's start wherever and just go where the flow takes you.
Yeah, I'd say you find
a wrestler.
Find a wrestler. Yeah. If you want to see someone that just chops people's heads off and like absolutely demolishes someone, find a big man. If you want to see some crazy acrobatics, find some of the smaller people, some cruiserweights. Tag team wrestling is kind of cool to get into because the teams are so different, and that you'll see 4 wrestlers at a time. So one of them you might like.
Well, that's a nice segue because to get back into what we saw last night, there was a tag team match.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the ladder one. That's the one that stuck out to me.
The trios one.
Because getting up so they had to put the ladder in the middle of the ring to climb up to get the championship belt, which then meant you win.
But there was 12 people in the ring,
and they're all trying to get the ladders down, and they're all fighting over it. And so that's where I sort of see some of the comedy is because you're sort of someone's. If me or you wanted to get up that ladder, we'd be up the bloody ladder, and we'd get this. I've never seen someone climb a ladder so slowly in my life.
So slowly.
Yeah.
But then as well, you do sometimes get matches where people do have a sense of urgency on the ladder, and it's like, you know what? I hope this person wins because they are climbing the ladder, They're getting up there. They want that title. They're not like, it isn't a single ladder that's up there.
It's not like Everest, guys. Come on.
Or like, I can understand one of like not a step ladder, like one that's lent against a building.
That could slide out.
Maybe. Yeah, I can understand going up that slowly, but no, a step ladder. I'm up.
Because there was a guy I liked in that tag team match because that's sort of one of the ones that got me. He's bearded, long hair, I think.
Yeah, Pac.
Yes, that was it. So finding people that you think like, oh, there's something about this wrestler, and then that sort of takes you down a tunnel, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you'll find some of their cool matches or just like highlight reels. Yeah, that's what's fun, watching people's highlight reels, because then you just see them doing the sickest shit. And you're like, oh, cool. I kind of want to watch a whole match to see how it led up to that sick moment. Yeah.
When you showed me the previews beforehand, there was also a match that came up that I found interesting just because it seemed quite different. And that was the match with the girl who's all like, is it 60s, 70s dressed?
Oh, Toni Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like an old school Hollywood act. She was part of a faction, and then she lost her title and had like a bit of a mental breakdown.
Okay.
So she was just like a regular chick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then she just started having a mental breakdown and started dressing like this 1920s Hollywood black and white actress dame sort of chick. And
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, very. And it just worked, and people loved it. And she just started getting more and more insane.
Well, because the last match that led up to this one with the so she was fighting. Who is she fighting?
Well, Toni.
Yeah.
Mariah May.
Yeah. So they had a match where they were friends, right? And then Mariah attacked her.
Yeah.
And started stabbing her in the head with a stiletto
with a shoe.
Brutal.
Yeah. There's some symbolism to the shoe.
They go hard. Yeah, the shoe kept popping up during this match as well, right?
Yeah, it's been so Tony's thing was, one of the things was like chin up, tits out, and watch out for the shoe. Yeah. But the build of that match had been happening for a while. It's like when Mariah debuted, she's like, I need to fight Toni Storm. She's like my idol. Blah, blah. And like for months, she's been her like little, not lapdog, but like lapdog-esque protege. At first, it was begrudging, and then she's like, oh, you actually do? Oh, okay. So she proper built her trust. And then was like, I get a shoe.
Turned on her.
Yeah, it was after she won a championship, tournament, not a championship. She won a tournament which let her challenge Toni for the title. As she was getting presented with it, Toni was there, and she just picked up the belt and clocked her over the head with it. Very good.
Brutal.
Very, very good heel turn. Oh, some of the chick matches go hard now. They were absolutely like, you'll see more blood in their matches than some of the men sometimes. Like they were like Britt Baker, who was against Mercedes Moné, the dentist chick. There's been a match like, I'll show you a picture afterwards. It's face covered in blood. She's got a demonic grin, like blood going through her teeth and everything. She's doing a submission on someone, just like cackling, laughing. It's crazy. She's been nuts. But they go hard now. It's nice to see the women wrestlers getting getting time on cards and actually not just being forced to do stupid like stereotype matches sort of thing. It's like, you guys go do, you want it? Yeah, sure, man. Definitely people will want to see that crazy shit. You do it. And yeah, there's some of the ability of them is really good. Like I'd never really seen Mariah May, who fought Toni wrestle before, but she was really good. I haven't seen many of her matches in the build up to it. But she's really, really good as well.
She was impressive.
And like everyone was cool. It was awesome seeing Jamie Hayter come back. She was great. Sorry, I will ramble a lot with wrestling.
Yeah, but it's definitely structured rambling. Yeah. Because with wrestling, all the storylines, it does divulge, right? It's not.
There's so
much. If you are just dipping into wrestling, you're only getting just surface level of what is really going on there.
Yeah, you're getting a snapshot of what is happening in the moment, but there is like wrestling does have like long-term storytelling as well. So like with the Toni and Mariah match, that had been building for months. And there's ones that go even longer than that. So it's
with the coffin match, setting him on fire. You said that was building.
Yeah, they've been like teasing that somebody is going to get fucking set on fire in AEW for ages. And Jack Perry kind of did get set on fire a little bit at one point, but not properly on fire. Someone needs to actually get set on fire. We were so close. And then fucking Sting came out. Like, it was nice to see Sting, but come on, man. Just let him get set on fire.
I thought it was going to happen as well when all the lights went out. I thought we were just going to see a flame.
Oh, yeah. And then, it was nice being able to sing Seek and Destroy.
Yeah.
That was good.
It was good, and the whole event's good. I'd really recommend it. As I said, I'd recommend better tickets. Like we got, spend a bit more money.
Yeah,
see a bit more.
If you can, then do it. I mean, if you can't afford those tickets, then being up high is not a problem. You will still have a great time. It's about the atmosphere as well as anything else.
It absolutely is about the atmosphere.
And if you're with one, two couple people that you can enjoy it with as well, you will have a great time no matter what.
I remember when we went last time, one thing that did surprise me and I was unexpected was to not have the commentary. And of course you wouldn't, because it's like a football game, you don't hear the commentary.
No.
But not hearing the commentary with wrestling sounds so strange. Yeah. It's like watching a TV show on mute. You can hear the crowd going and you hear the bangs of the ring and stuff, but you don't hear what they're saying.
It really annoys me not being with AEW. That really I can't remember where I started getting it more from, but now the cameras have got better mics on, so you can actually hear the wrestlers like shit talking and stuff in the ring as well, which I really missed that. That I like MJF. He shit talks so much during matches. It's awesome. He'll be a proper cocky little shit, and then he'll be like when he's the tables are turned on him, he'll be like again a little sniveling piece of shit. And it's just like growing up with the WWE, where you didn't really get to hear or see that so much. It was just the match, and then whatever was said inside and outside of it. Whatever was said outside of it, but hearing the talking builds the story in the match as well, which is nice. Which is another layer to it, which is cool.
It's like a massive onion.
Yeah,
wrestling's
great.
On layers on layers. Enjoyable for everyone.
Wrestling's great. Go watch some.
I do want to bring Bowie one day when she's a bit older, just again for that experience of it all.
There was a bunch of kids there.
Yeah, a lot of kids.
Yeah, you just got to have them rest, sleep a lot the day before.
Yeah, because that's it. So that is the other thing. Again, it is a very long day. So doors 5 till 10.
Doors opened at 3:30. The pre-show started about 4:30. It was the first dark match, and that went they went on till 6 on the pre-show. And then the main card started at 6 till 10.
So 6. Okay.
There were about 8 matches on the main card, which was good. And it was nicely paced and nicely timed as well.
Something that they do really well, which I brought up, which I wasn't aware of until coming last time, and this is that there's no break, sit down between the matches.
No.
Like even with a gig, you've got a time where they're setting up the next band and stuff like this.
It is just
it's just next people are out. Yep. Let's get them out there. Let's get it done. Let's get as much in as we can.
Yeah, because your time's limited as well. You've got to the matches. You'll be given a set amount of time per match.
Yeah, that
they have to work in, and then you then got to count all the stuff in, but you want to give everybody a good amount of time to show off their shit, and and then you got to count entrances as well, and because you know
some of those entrances go on, don't they? Not in a bad way.
Yeah, especially when they got to do roof fireworks. Someone.
Yeah, I did find it weird that carriage. I thought there's a carriage on the stage.
It was just there for start,
and it shouldn't have been. It should have been behind because it was such anticlimactic.
It went
2 feet,
5 meters, and then she got out. But there were a bunch of doggies in there.
Doggies?
Yeah, there were a bunch of corgis in there. Yeah. I was watching a clip this morning on Instagram. It's like, right, what the fuck was actually going on there? Where the hell did she get in a carriage for 2 meters?
What's the next big wrestling event then? So that was another All In. What's the next big one on the cards? When's WrestleMania? Has that happened already?
That's April. Okay. That was April.
I know what that
All
one
Out is in 2 weeks.
All Out. So what's the difference between All In and All Out? Not just a different.
Yes. No. AEW their casino themed events.
How often are these sort of events?
Normally they do one. They'll be generally one a month sort of thing. Maybe one every 6 weeks. But All In and All Out are just very close together.
Okay.
I think the next one after this should be early October.
And they're normally in the States.
Yeah. We got there's Revolution Pro Wrestling that's over here in the UK. That's really good. We've been to that once. We went to that for my birthday. Will Ospreay used to be in that.
Huh?
I don't know if he helped not start it, but him and there was one of the guys from the casino match, Zack Sabre Jr. He came out. He had like the orange and brown entrance, the TMDK on it.
Yeah.
He's English as well. They were both in that.
Oh.
But yeah, they helped get it big because they would still do it while they were wrestling in Japan as big Japanese stars. They come back and work Revolution Pro Wrestling because it's a home promotion. Yeah, which was nice. Like when we went for my birthday, Will Ospreay was there.
Oh, so you've seen him?
Yeah, I've seen him right up close. Yeah,
That's cool.
like there was like 4 rows of chairs and we were standing behind.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe like 6 rows of chairs. We were stood behind.
See, that's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it was basically in a bar, like in a really big bar.
I think that would be a very different experience.
Oh yeah, it was like people were fighting through the crowd. It was awesome. Like wrestling's like the one we were at. If someone does like a dive from the ring to the outside, there's all that space they got. No. It's like this is crowd. Get the fuck out the way. Get off your chair. Move. I'm jumping. And yeah, like you'll get wrestlers like will go and sit on someone's lap. Like, just one. And yeah, you get like more crowd interaction, which is cute.
I wouldn't mind checking one of them out.
No, they're good.
I think again, a lot of it is like you said with having the right wrestlers.
Yeah,
they make it, and this isn't one of those jobs that I think people can look at and go, "Oh, you get paid for just sitting around." Like you don't get paid for anything. Like those wrestlers who get paid well, and they're not in a big. It's not always people get paid well in this sport. But those who do seem to really deserve it.
Yeah, they've worked their way to that.
Yeah,
like very. I'm not saying that other people haven't worked their way hard, but these people have gone the extra mile, sort of thing. It's not just something they do; it's their life.
Yeah, it's a lot of commitment, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you've got to learn how to get hurt, basically.
That's the thing, because as much as you say, "Oh, it's fake," there's some people at home maybe like, "Oh, I don't want to pay any attention to wrestling because it's not real. I want real sports." Well, the injuries sustained might not always be real, as in the impacts from each punch might not be. But every flip, every punch they make that doesn't hit, that's all a massive skill to do.
Yeah.
To not hit someone's probably no, not arguably. It is harder to not hit someone than it is to just hit them.
Yeah. I mean that. So that move that Will Ospreay beat MJF with, he hasn't been doing that move because of how badly it could injure somebody. I'm doing bunny fingers here. Although technically it could really fuck someone up. It has done numerous times. Because you're basically dropping someone on the back of their neck. But yeah, if things like that go wrong, you're going to end someone's life. Whereas combat sports, so you have to learn how to not hurt somebody and make it look like you are hurting them.
Yeah, as opposed to just hit someone as hard as you can. Yeah,
exactly. You've got to have a lot more self-control, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Because if something does go wrong and someone does punch you, you got to just like, it was just part of it, It happens. But then also maybe in the back of your head, like, is that person? It's which is why, like the CM Punk situation thing, you can sort of understand altercations happening in that business, but it doesn't actually happen all that more. That it has done.
A heated place, he's very muscular, very strong.
Yeah, there's a lot of testosterone. There's a lot of competitiveness.
Yeah, they all want to be. At the end of the day, 9 times 10 want to be that number 1 fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're always fighting. And having that progression with someone can boost that for you. But again, it's still bringing aggression in, as fake as it is, and as you can pat someone on the back and go, "Oh, that was all in good faith." Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
at the end of the day, someone still has like where MJF and again, MJF and Will Ospreay, like there's one point MJF spat at Will Ospreay. There was another point Will Ospreay like snorted his nose down at him to clear his nostril on him. Like to be able to just understand that that's just a performance. Because it's weird, like if you see like Will Ospreay the character and then Will Ospreay when he's doing interviews, he's such a juxtaposition because he's so different. When you hear him talk in wrestling, he's all very super aggressive, like English cocky guy. But when he's in an interview, he's very humble and soft, like quite soft spoken, and it's interesting. I like that kind of stuff.
We'll get him on a podcast one day.
Oh, Oh my god, he does a lot of shit like that. So
Who knows?
one
Watch
day,
this space.
Will, shout out if you're listening.
Yeah.
Come on, bruv.
Bro, that's it. Saw a lot of that, didn't we?
Yeah,
bro.
that's one of his catchphrases in AEW. So one of the reasons I love him. The way he says it is sick.
It's been a really good chat. I think we could probably talk for hours. I know that you could definitely
Oh,
do
yeah.
your an entire podcast just on wrestling, I think.
Yeah, quite possibly.
So I hope it hasn't been too rambling. I found it really interesting sat here listening to you. With that in mind, I think other people have definitely enjoyed this. I hope I asked you some questions that people maybe wanted me to ask you. I didn't ask you a lot. I didn't really want to put you on the spot too much. But I just thought, ask those things that I sort of can't really remember, such as when it was that got you into it, that sort of thing. Is there anything you want to bring to the table before we sort of put things to a close on the wrestling date that we had? Mandate?
Nah, I mean, yeah. If I could give a couple recommendations again, I guess if for people that maybe wanting to dabble their toes, if you want if you're wanting like a cool, really long story to look into for something that's happened, the WWE Bloodline story that's been going on has been happening for like years, and their champion was champion for like 1,000. Roman Reigns was champion for like 1,400 days or something for like nearly 4 years. He's been champion.
Jesus.
But they got a really cool, really cool storyline that goes along with it. Of him I won't go into the story, but that's really so. If you want a cool story-based thing, check that out. Wicked matches, check anything with Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay for sure.
Yeah.
Kazuchika Okada is an immense wrestler too from Japan. If you want to see some of that stuff, Zack Sabre Jr. matches are great. If you want some someone getting twisted into a pretzel and hear men scream in like little I would say scream like little girls because that's the idiom, right, or whatever the thing you say for that.
Yeah, it's dark, isn't it? I always thought it is.
Do they high pitch? Like you will hear that in Zack Sabre Jr. matches because people are being twisted into ways they didn't know they could be turned. Yeah, if you want some goofy matches, Kenny Omega's got some old goofy matches. There's one where he wrestles a freaking blow up doll. He is all about the art of pro wrestling. He is an artist in the
an auteur.
Yeah. He's an auteur and an artist
for Hideo Kojima of wrestling.
Yeah, basically. So
no, thanks for the recommendations. It's stuff like without you, I wouldn't drop my phone there. Without you, I wouldn't really know much about this wrestling world. I'd still just know the basics, but it's a fun world to be part of.
Yeah,
it's fun world to you can dabble your feet. I do.
Yeah,
I'm a dabbler. Yeah. I don't follow the storylines, but you very kindly always catch me up, especially when something's happening backstage and someone's running on. You're like, oh, that's this person who kidnapped a baby and did this with their wife's granddaughter. And,
which might be a storyline next year.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
I will keep you up to date.
If you want more wrestling chat, do let us know. It's definitely something, as we sort of said, that Steven would be absolutely all about. If this wasn't the podcast for you, sorry about that. Next week we'll talk about some more anime. We did also watch through can you guess it? Gundam. We watched a Gundam.
Oh, who would have guessed
season. We won't really go into that today. Maybe next week we'll bring it up. But we watched through Thunderbolt, and long story short of it, really good,
really cool.
Strange.
Yeah,
and I'd like more of it.
Yeah, more Thunders, more bolts.
There's our 30-second review of, not even 30-second, 10-second review of Thunderbolts. More Thunderbolts. 10% more Thunderbolts.
No, 50% more Thunderbolts. 50%, at least 50% more Thunderbolts.
So yeah, sort that out for us.
Thank you.
It's ongoing. So, but for this week, I've been Joe.
And I've been Steven.
And thank you for joining us
in another world.